Hey Science Tens! So today we are going to take what we learned from our last lesson on calculating molar mass, and we are going to now take that and use it in an equation. So this equation can be found on the back of your periodic table, and it is basically our only chemistry equation, but it does get used in physics, so you will see it in both places. So this would be a key thing to write down, would be this formula right here, okay, and what each letter represents. Now you can put this right on your periodic table. It is totally up to you with the formula, but you do have to be very careful in keeping little m and big M different from each other because they do mean two separate things, okay? All of these kind of end up sounding similar in what they mean, but they are very different. So little m in every single formula you will actually end up seeing for your science concepts is always going to be mass. Okay? And mass in this formula is going to be measured with the unit of grams. Okay? Molar mass, big M, which is what we have actually learned how to calculate last lesson. Okay? Those units, like I told you last lesson, you don't actually have to memorize. You can actually find that on your periodic table with, one second, okay, in the top right-hand corner, atomic molar mass. It says grams per mole. So if we have a mind blank, there it is, okay? And our little is your number of moles. And you will notice that the unit for moles is MOL without the E, okay? And that is a different way of measuring the amount of the substance. So how this formula works, this one is set up so that you can find moles, and little refresher, this would be mass divided by, that's what that fraction line means, molar mass. So let's see it in action and how we would end up using it. Okay. So in example 1, you would need 0.72 moles of sodium bromide. How much should you weigh out on the scale? So we are looking for how much you should weigh out. So this would be, you are calculating your mass. Okay. Once we've identified that, then we're going to say, okay, this is what they've given us. This is moles, so this would be N. And then let's look at our formula that we have. So N is equal to, and just so you have a, make sure you can find it on your periodic table in the back of it. There it is, it's kind of hiding, but there it is, little m over big M. Okay, so little m over big M. Now, your math skills will be used in this situation, but I will kind of walk you through it in some two possible options for you and your preference on how you do your algebra behind this. Okay, so if I was looking at this formula, I would say, okay, I was given this, and I am looking for this. Well, what is big M? Okay, in order to solve this question, we need two known things because we have one unknown. So the thing is, molar mass we can always find out once we know what we are dealing with in regards to a compound. So sodium bromide, this is formula, sodium bromide. Okay, this is balanced. Sodium has a charge of +1, bromine has a charge of -1. These rules still apply. You don't get to forget about them. Okay, so I can always calculate my molar mass. It doesn't matter what the question is asking me. This is almost always my first step. So if I was to calculate the molar mass for sodium bromide, I would break this down and say, okay, I have 1 sodium, I have 1 bromide. I'm going to look for my atomic mass. Okay, and my atomic mass for sodium is 22.99. And my atomic mass for bromine is 79.90. All right, I would add those up, and I should get 102.89, and the units per molar mass is grams per mole. Sorry, I'm going to go off my screen. Okay, so now I know this guy, I know this guy, which means I can solve for little m. Okay, so a couple different ways you can do this. I have some people who like to rearrange the formula first and then calculate, and then I have others who like to put the numbers in and apply their algebra skills. I'm going to show you both. For both examples I do, and you can pick the one you prefer. You do not have to do them both ways. Okay, so I'm going to do my preferred just because I like the algebra. So I know, sorry guys, I know, I'm just going to erase this so it gets a little neater. All right, now we're good. So n is equal to little m over big M. So n is 0.72 moles. I'm going to put that in where n was. And I am going to include my units. This is a science skill that's important. You don't just forget about the units. Okay, I do not know little m, so I'm going to leave it as little m. And that big M we already calculated was 102.89 grams per mole. All right. So, math skills. I want to get my little m on its own. How do I do that? Well, that little m is being divided by 102.89. So in order to get it on its own, I'm going to move this guy to the other side, which means because it's being divided, I need to multiply. The opposite of divide is multiply. So I'm going to multiply 0.72 moles by 102.89 grams per mole, and that's going to be equal to my m. Okay. Now if I type that in my calculator, that's all I have left to do. 0.72 times 102.89, I should get 74. Let me put it up here. M is equal to 74.08 grams. Now, good habit as well is to always circle your answer. It's easy to find, and that way you know for sure that you are done, especially once you go back to your question and say, how much should it weigh out on the scale? Weigh means grams. Now we're good to go. Okay, so to show you the other approach to it, if you don't like the algebra way, you still will have to do some math. Okay, so you still have your formula n is equal to little m over big M. Nothing's changed. You still know this. 0.72 is n. And I've actually calculated it already because we did it, was 102.89. Okay, so I have some people who like to memorize formulas because they don't love the math. That's fine by me. It's up to you. But the math skills do help you out eventually. So I want little m on its own, the opposite, okay, of what's happening to little m, which is dividing, the opposite is multiply. So in order to little n times big M equals little m. So when they're right beside each other, that means multiply. So I have some people that actually end up memorizing this formula and just use that, okay? It's the exact same thing. Some people like to do it first, so little m is equal to n times m, which means n is 0.72 moles. Still show me units in this method. Molar mass is 102.89 grams per mole. And I get, for an answer, little m is equal to 74.08 grams. All right. We can move on to the next example, hopefully. Okay, so how many moles of C6H12O6, this is actually glucose or sugar, do you have if you weighed out 42.73 grams? So first thing I'm going to do is recognize what I have. Is this grams, little m, big M, or N? Okay, and grams tells me this is little m. I can calculate big M always. So if I'm calculating molar mass for C6H12O6, this is always something that's going to be done on the side kind of thing. So I have 6 carbons, 12 hydrogens, and 6 oxygens. Now I find my molar mass on my periodic table. Okay. I find it in the top left-hand corner. So like oxygen is 16.00. Need to include your decimals. Hydrogen is 1.01, and carbon should be 12.01. Okay. So I multiply these guys out, and I should get 72.06 for carbon, 12.112 for hydrogen, and 96.00 for oxygen. Add them all up to find my molar mass, and I should get 180.18 grams per mole. Okay, so that's my molar mass. So now I know, okay, little m, this is big M. So for my own sake, I am going to erase my screen so you're not looking at craziness here. All right, so I know little m, this big M, I'm just going to rewrite the number so I have access to it, is 180.18 grams per mole. And it is asking how many moles. So this is N. This is my question mark. I don't know this. So let's look at the formula. N is equal to little m over big M. It's always nice when you get one of these ones because I know this guy. Check. I know this guy. Check. I don't actually have to rearrange a formula at all. This is nice and simple. Okay, so these are always going to be your favorite ones. I almost guarantee it. So what that means is I can go ahead and just put my numbers in. So little m is 42.731 grams divided by 180.18 grams per mole. That fraction line means divide, so I type that in my handy dandy calculator, and you should get, let's calculate it out, 42.731 divided by 80.18 equals 0.23715. It's a big decimal. For now, until you learn sig, digs, and physics, I'm going to tell you 2 decimals. Okay, so it should be 0.237, but that actually means we're going to round, and you should get 0.24 moles. Okay, and that's the end of calculating. You will now have an assignment to do. Send me a message on Reminder email if you want me to do another example. I can do another video for you if you'd like. But other than that, you just finished your last concept in chemistry for Science 10. Hope you have a good rest of your day, guys. Bye.